And just like that, the most disappointing, terrible, awful season in Phoenix Suns history has come to a fitting close. It's finally over. We're free. Free at last here on the PHNX Suns post-game show, still brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary over at Bet365. I'm Eric. That's Steven, Gerald, Noah behind the Mac. And for one last time, it's a post-game show. The Phoenix Suns lost 109-98, officially 10 games under 500 on the season. And it is finally over, guys. It's done.
Yeah, I would say it feels good, but it doesn't feel good. I think we're all relieved that we don't have to watch a team that has this much talent play such uninspired, unorganized basketball. That's kind of the relief, but realistically, like, we came into this season expecting this team to be a tier below the top title contenders, and for them to win 13 fewer games than last season, to not even qualify for the play-in, let alone the playoffs, is just a colossal disappointment all around. Everybody bears their fair share of blame in that, like we've been saying for weeks now, and it's going to be really interesting to see what Coach Bud, the team, and probably Matt Ishbia in the front office has to say about it in the coming days, assuming that we get exit interviews once they're back from Sacramento.
I can't shake the underwhelming adjective to just describe the season as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Just so much more left to be desired from so many elements of the team. And it's very fitting that, you know, if we all feel relief from the season being done. But I don't know, as I'm watching all of these playoff games, I'm just going to be looking at and saying moments where, man, why couldn't the Suns do this? Man, why couldn't the Suns do that?
Yeah.
Y'all have KD, y'all have Devin Booker, y'all have Bradley Beal, y'all have Mike Budenholzer on the sideline, Tyus Jones is your starting point guard. And here we are.
I do want to thank all the people who are here with us today. And of course, everybody who stuck along with us throughout this entire season. We'll have some closing remarks and messages to you amazing people, the people who make this all happen here in the chat, on audio, on YouTube after the fact. Nice little light goal of 100 for us today. We'll be looking towards the off season and planning everything out. We do have some sound from Marc Stein that we're going to be playing for you later this show, and that full interview will be up on our YouTube channel later today. But we would be totally remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about this game today. Obviously, a result that we all expected, but what I didn't expect, Gerald, was that Mason Plumlee was going to be getting the lion's share of minutes tonight. Maybe some of the all-time reactions that I've had came from this pregame show when you told me that Mason Plumlee was starting over Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah, we broke you, which is hard to do in the last game of an 82-game season when you were eliminated 3 games before that. Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough. I don't understand that at all. Like, I understand wanting to get all of the bench guys minutes tonight, but starting him, playing him 22 minutes when this should have been a game where Oso Ighodaro is playing upwards of 30 minutes. I don't get it. I did enjoy. I was watching the game over there and hearing your reaction to Mason Plumlee taking and airballing that 3 early in the game was one of the highlights of the season for me.
Genuinely so. Like, Steven, there's no way as a coach you can justify doing this.
I mean, not by my eye, but my eye isn't the one that was coaching the team.
I wish.
What about your gut?
Yeah, how's it? You've been drinking your kombucha?
What's your gut feeling?
Man, I keep my gut in a good space. So
that makes one of you.
But yes, that's a microcosm of the season. Mason starting in a situation that seems like it screamed for the youngins to play more. Obviously, Mason coming in and not playing up to par with where he needed to. And it just felt all too familiar at this point, honestly. 82 times we've done that now this season.
I did kind of love the air ball, though. It's like, just screw it. If you're going to be out there, why not shoot a lefty 3 from the corner? Why not brick a couple jumpers? Not even brick.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even, it's so bad you can't even call it a brick.
Yeah, hit something for it to be a brick.
Yeah. We did not get our Ryan Dunn masterclass. We did not get 30 points from Ryan Dunn. Mm-hmm. Everybody did play, but I think the person who got the least amount of minutes tonight, or second least behind Jalen Bridges, had a lot of people angry as well. No starting Oso Ighodaro. Mm-hmm. No playing Bull until there's 4 minutes left in the game, after also not playing him on Fan Appreciation Night.
There's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something there, because I had asked Bud last game about the Bull chance and why Bull didn't get any playing time, because he went to the scorers table. Then after the timeout, he was out. He wasn't subbed back in. He used the whole, they cut it to 18, 20 points thing to justify him not playing. It's like, all right. And then you go into the last game of the season, he only plays 5 minutes on a night where everybody's getting minutes because it's irrelevant. There's something there. I don't know what it is, whether it was a disagreement, whether it's these two just don't like each other or something was said, but it's pretty clear that you don't go from starting this guy for weeks at a time to phasing him out of the rotation to even when the season is away, you don't get him minutes. And look, it doesn't ultimately matter, but for fans that were tuning in, hoping to see some last Bull minutes, mm-hmm. that it matters to them.
Yeah, and that's why on Fan Appreciation Night of all nights, not playing him's crazy. Only playing him for 4 minutes when you got to see what you have from these young guys, right? Mm-hmm. To get the same amount of minutes practically as Jalen Bridges, who hasn't touched the court for the Suns this entire year, when Bull was starting at one point. No matter what your feelings are about Bull, he's going to be a free agent. You have his bird rights. The Suns might want to bring him back next year, but I don't think Bud gives a crap about next year. Felt like starting Mason Plumlee in almost these entire 82 games has been one long middle finger from Mike Budenholzer to Phoenix Suns fans and to the team. And to be honest with you, his notification of Mike Budenholzer has been fired from the Phoenix Suns cannot come fast enough for me. And I know that it's really tough when you're talking about people's jobs, but genuinely, when you look at this guy's track record on decisions that he's made coaching the Suns, it's indefensible decision after indefensible decision after indefensible decision. And it gets to a certain point where it comes across my mind of, are you even trying, or are you trying to do the opposite and just cash in on a payday and get fired? It makes no sense to me. And it was just another game, Steven, 82 of 82, of scratching my head. And only I could find a way to get frustrated about that.
You know, you made great growth this season.
Thank you.
I got this one shot. Yes, specifically for me, Gerald. You weren't here for this one. It's the breathing techniques.
Oh, he's got breathing techniques.
When he feels his heart rate starting to rise,
okay,
and his voice starting to get louder and amplifying, he started to adopt the take a moment to just breathe and woosah a little bit.
Okay,
sometimes even mid sentence. And I feel like that's growth because he did not have that in his bag earlier this season.
That's great. You and my 8-month pregnant wife learning the breathing techniques this year. That's.
Am I big bright shining star? Do I get big bright shining star?
I think that specific skill is a big bright shining star caliber for sure.
Well, who does get big bright shining star? Presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Breathe in.
Big bright shining star.
And breathe out. It's nobody. But honestly, it's all of us.
Okay.
The chat.
Some troopers. Chat included, but us three and chat included and Noah. Mm-hmm. We are some troopers.
Yay!
We are some troopers.
Not Noah.
Not after that sound you just made.
Not Noah. Everybody who's super chatted, hit like on these videos, watched us, listened to us.
Told a friend or a family member or a coworker about us.
Tweeted about us.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you. Mm-hmm. Gerald, what would you say was your best moment this season?
Oh, my
when you finally asked a hard question?
Yep, that was the one.
That happened?
Not yet. Exit interview's coming up.
I'm planning for it. I'm preparing for when that day
Training.
comes. I'm trying to think, man, because there was the book game winner against the Bucks. The season had already pretty much slipped away, but that was kind of the last hope that maybe we could watch some play-in or some playoff basketball and actually enjoy watching it to some degree. that was a good moment. I think in the same game, Ryan Dunn dunking over Giannis was a fun moment. And as much as it came in a loss, I think the historic nature of Book climbing into #1 on the franchise's all-time scoring list, again, it came in a loss to the Blazers, but that was a really cool moment as well.
Any other ones stand out to you, Steven?
I would say the one that gave me the most, they got the biggest reaction out of me because I just didn't think it would ever happen, was in mid-February when they decided to, or late February when they decided to start actually switching things. And the reaction they got out of me, I didn't believe what I saw.
Yeah.
Because we'd been up here asking for it for months on end, and it just never happened. And then all of a sudden, all it takes is one ejection and a couple of injuries to tip it over for you to start actually doing it. And we saw the short term, albeit short term, but we saw the result that it had for the team and the way that it kind of gave like a little bit of a breath of fresh air because of the staleness of their initial approach to defense.
We'll always have that 4-game win streak, won't we?
Yes.
We'll always have that, beating the Cavs, beating the Bucks. I mean, come on, what's better than that? I'd rather have that than a play-in berth, huh? Than
Totally.
a playoff run.
Totally.
I mean, people ask me, like, what do I want out of my basketball team? And I say, winning 4 meaningless games when your season's already in the gutter, just to give your fan base enough hope to crush it by losing like 7 in a row after that.
That Cleveland game was fun, though.
I didn't even get to do that post game.
Oh, that's tough. Well, what about, I mean,
I missed a lot of the best games this season.
what about the Clippers one?
I didn't get to do the Clippers one. I did the ASU post game where they got the U of A's nuts dragged across their face.
You need to take a long, hard look in the mirror, sir.
It's really my fault. Maybe I'm not the big, bright, shining
Gerald,
star.
maybe we should
Rescind
give
it.
Eric an exit interview tomorrow.
We might have to.
Actually, wait.
We might have to.
I think we should all give exit interviews to each other, and we are now 100% doing that. That is a fantastic idea. And of course, if you don't know, just because the season is over doesn't mean PHNX Suns is over. We will be going live 5 days a week at 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Of course, we will have draft coverage.
Not 2, not 3.
Yes, I am the Suns curse. That is me. Don't let me cover a basketball team, baby. Sun Devils, trash. Suns, trash.
Sun Devil football was great.
I said basketball team.
Oh, okay,
Apparently,
yeah,
I'm allowed to cover football.
Fair point.
I did cover the Cardinals when they had the 11-win season and then blew it in the playoffs, but nah, that's not my fault.
We don't got to talk about that.
That's not my fault.
okay.
But we'll be live at 3 p.m. every single day, Monday through Friday. Plus, of course, we'll have more off-season content for you, film breakdowns, free agency coverage, draft coverage, a draft show. We're going to be doing a live watch-along for the draft lottery to see where the Suns' pick is ending up, even though it won't be their pick. And we will be doing so much more. So make sure you stay tuned with us. But to round out this game, let's go ahead and just, for the final time this season, take a look inside the box. Presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
Imagine you're looking at the sun in the valley and you don't have your sunglasses on. Cover your eyes. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just take this time to talk about this team just has such great opportunity. Opportunity time after time to make things happen. And like it would be one thing if they made the play-in and then didn't make the playoffs, because I think that should still have warranted relevant change in like a hefty manner.
Yeah.
But to do it to this extent, like I'm not sure. Like, there's nothing that you could tell me outside of a Devin Booker trade that I would be like, oh my God, I can't believe it happened at this point. Yeah, I don't know about how y'all feel, but like, I don't know. This is like uncharted territory, quite honestly, especially considering the Big 3 construct, brand new owner, all of the money spent, all of these different things that we've all lamented all season long, and for it to kind of come full circle to this. Cover your eyes.
Yeah. I mean, change has to be coming, and we've been reporting that pretty much everything is going to be on the table outside of a Devin Booker trade. If they don't make the play-in, we knew as of Wednesday that was the case. This loss today, I mean, that cements a 36-win season. They had the same record as the Portland Trailblazers. You missed the play-in entirely. It's just brutal, and like I've been saying, I'd be shocked if Mike Budenholzer is still here. I feel like there could be a change in the front office situation. Obviously, getting out of Bradley Beal's contract is going to be their number one priority. Trading Kevin Durant might have to be a casualty in terms of your cap situation, even though a lot of us still believe you can build a contender around Book and KD if you do it right. Guys like Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal could be on the way out just to recoup some assets or give yourself more flexibility and ducking under that second tax apron. So I think outside of Book, a lot of change is coming. We don't know what it looks like yet. We don't know when it's going to be here, but things are going to change for sure because we know that Matt Ishbia is not happy with the way that this season has went, and he's going to continue to be aggressive. We don't know whether that looks like second tax apron again next season. I doubt it. I think they're going to have to rethink their approach there, but yeah, you're right. Like, there's going to be a lot of change on the near horizon here.
Yeah, and let's talk about that change. Let's talk specifically about Mike Budenholzer. Later in the show, we'll have some sound from Marc Stein about KD, about Book. Remember, our light goal is 100 for our season finale, and we are going to continue our postmortem right after this break. Well, you can't buy Suns playoff tickets on Game Time, but you can go to just about anything else. Of course, that means not just sporting events, whether it's a Diamondbacks game, maybe an ASU game you want to go to, or if you want to travel and go to watch some actual real basketball this summer, you can go even more than just sports. We're talking theater, we're talking comedy, we're talking everything under the sun, as long as you do it over at Game Time. The best part about Game Time is Game Time picks. They filter out the fluff. They show you not only the best deals from the best seats, but the views from that seat. They have all-inclusive pricing that when you toggle on, you don't get any hidden fees, which is always the most annoying part of buying tickets. It genuinely makes me mad, being like, ooh, I found a great deal. And then you go to check out and it's like, by the way, $700 convenience fee. Doesn't seem very convenient to me, but take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase, but terms apply. So again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. And now that you're going to have a lot of free time in the off season, you can maybe renovate your home. And if you're renovating your home, maybe redo your flooring. And if you're redoing your flooring, check out Empire today, because they do not half-ass this flooring stuff, man. They are all about it. They eat, breathe, sleep, and poop flooring. And just like your favorite team needs home court, field, or home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage of its own, and Empire can help you do that. Ditch the big box stores that are going to leave you hanging with expensive upcharges and your own DIY, and you're just lost. No, Empire today has everything that you need to make sure that A, you pick the right flooring, and B, it gets installed the right way. Plus, you can save some money. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yep, $350 off with discount code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details. Yeah, Banksy's saying that we might get a vacation coming up.
Our vacation is we get weekends now.
That is true.
We get weekends, but we're going to be 5 shows a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. every
Plus
day.
emergency pods for any big breaking news, free agency.
We'll have a whole lot of. So
yeah, when Mike Budenholzer gets fired, when James Jones' contract expires, we will all be here. Yeah, I don't think I've had a full weekend. I think I've had maybe 2 full weekends since August.
Yeah,
because of the ASU season. So everybody throw a pity party for me. All right, let's take a look at Super Chats, baby, before we start talking about the future of Mike Budenholzer and what might come down soon. Psycho Blue with a $10 Super Chat. Thank you, Psycho Blue. Says, improved depth, a decent draft, a G League. These make a great team. But then the front office added dysfunctional coach X only cubed the amount used last year, creating a true abomination. See you next season.
Yeah, this team should have been better. And I think if you look at the list of reasons why this season went wrong, Mike Budenholzer has to be near the top of that list, if not the very top. But I do think to some degree, it's not all on Mike Budenholzer. There were so many different reasons this Suns season went wrong. And I think part of it, like the depth that we thought this team would have, the pieces didn't mesh. Like, I think they had good individual players, and certain guys had good individual seasons if you look just at their raw numbers. But in terms of how those pieces fit together around Book and KD, it just was nowhere near good enough. And I think you're hopefully going into the offseason prioritizing size, prioritizing defense, prioritizing athleticism, because those 3 things were lacking in abundance this year.
Yeah, I think the other thing, in addition to everything you said, is age. They need to get younger.
Yeah.
They need to get younger in the worst way possible. This team was just too old. Anytime they went up against a team that averaged the age of 26 or less,
Yeah.
they did not fare well. And I think there's a lot to say in that. And if you're Matt Ishbia, who spoke in February about assessing in detail every single faction of the Phoenix Suns franchise post All-Star break, that has to be heavily included in addition to everything that you just got done mentioning.
You know, it's funny looking back in hindsight at the offseason, it just felt like they checked so many boxes that they needed to check.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting here and we're like, yeah, none of them. Like everything that you need to do is still on the table. We thought they checked the coaching box. We thought that they had some good rookies, which they did, right? We're like, oh yeah, you have some youth that you could root for. You have established veterans to build around Katie, Book, and Beal. Hopefully some continuity, hopefully some health as well. And you just didn't get any of it. And that's just disgusting.
And that's the crazy part too, is that like the rookies and the youth and the athleticism was on full display with the two guys that they drafted. This season would have been even worse if those two hadn't taken on a prominent role. And we saw it during that stretch where Mike Budenholzer kind of inexplicably tied them to the bench. That's when things kind of went south on the season. Like they weren't the 8-2 team we saw to start the year at that point, but they were still in the playoff hunt. They were nowhere near where we've gotten to at this point. That's when things went south. And it's hard not to think about that stretch and wonder what might have been. I think we know that this team wasn't going to contend. They probably weren't going to win a playoff series if Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro had been playing that entire time. But it just felt like they continually shot themselves in the foot by pressing the wrong buttons at the wrong time. That's one of the biggest things that you can't do in this league is put yourself at a disadvantage, because there's more parity, there's more talent in the NBA than there ever has been. You look at the West, there are very few easy nights, easy matchups in the West now, and the Suns just repeatedly put themselves in a place where they had to perform with zero margin for error because of the guys that they were playing, because of the rotations they were doing, because of the inherent lack of size that they had and athleticism. And they just made it 10 times worse by not playing those guys that could help with the defense, that could help with the athleticism and the energy that this group was clearly lacking at times.
Nobody loves or nobody hates his toes more than Mike Budenholzer because of how much he shot himself in the foot.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I'm going to nail that line. Nope.
It wasn't bad.
I mean, if I didn't stumble at the beginning and said loves, you know, but I felt good about that one. But they just called me the Phoenix Suns of the PHNX Suns podcast. Oh, no. High expectations, low results. All right, Noah, high expectations for these next two super chats.
All right. $2 from Be Calm See Clearly. Smiling crying emoji. I never got to eat Booker's cookies. Tough angry emoji. I love you, Noah. Heart emoji. Love you too, Donzel.
So cute.
He follows it up with an additional 2 buckaroos and says, I'm happy I spent the season with the PHNX fam. Heart emoji, 100 emoji.
Thank you, Be Calm See Clearly. We appreciate that.
Thank you for the laughs.
Yes.
Yeah.
You provided plenty this year.
Broke up the vibe that typically came from post games. just with the wide, broad spectrum of where your comments could go. So we appreciate your consistency. You were more consistent than the Suns this season. And we can't be us without you. So thank you.
And it's very funny because it was a true barometer of like if we were in the hopeless parts of the season or not. Where it was like, oh, Be Calm See Clearly is being funny again. No, talking about
Be Calm coming with analysis.
Kiss Devin Booker, you know. And then just eventually Be Calm was like, this team has ruined me and my family.
Just out of the blue.
And you're just like, oh man, like things are really bad. Yeah. We also appreciate Be Calm See Clearly because it's given Noah a chance to speak more on the show, which by the way, we should bring back party time to end this show. So we'll need to get that eventually. But is there anything else from this game before we talk about Mike Budenholzer's future that we want to talk about?
From this game?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Okay. Mike Budenholzer. Over under 3.5 more days as Phoenix Suns head coach.
This is not based on anything, but I would say
we're just having fun.
Yeah, I would say under.
I
think last year they wanted to have Ishbia here and conduct interviews with players, kind of get the temperature of the room in terms of the job that Vogel did. So it took a little bit longer to evaluate his future. We even had exit interviews with Ishbia and James Jones before Vogel was eventually fired. I don't know if that'll be the same case this year. I think it's pretty clear when you go from 49 wins to 36, when you miss the play-in with the most expensive payroll in NBA history. Those are things that are going to stand out, and that's in addition to the rumblings that we've heard about his coaching style, about it potentially rubbing players the wrong way, being, my way or the highway, that type of stuff. I think it's probably a lot worse behind the scenes than we know. So I would be surprised if it's beyond 3.5 days.
I don't know if you want to ask me about betting.
We'll get to
Fair
that.
point.
We'll get to that in a second.
It's certainly the under 1,000%.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like this is going to drag on a little longer than we need it to be? I feel like we're going to get I can see the future. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I might ruin this too. So hold on to your horses, everybody. Thursday's live show.
Okay.
Why haven't the Phoenix Suns fired Mike Budenholzer yet?
Okay.
I could see that I don't know why, but it's like, why would it be that easy for us? Why would we get closure that soon? Why would they not drag it out and make us worry a little bit?
The reason either needs to be that you're coming out and saying that we're keeping him for next season, which would be crazy.
Could you imagine?
Or you have to have a very good reason for not firing him within the next couple of days, to be honest with you.
Would there be and I'm not trying to be mean. Would there be a single Suns fan happy to see Mike Budenholzer back next year?
I'm trying to think.
I'm sure he has family members that are Suns fans, so yes.
That's fair.
Is he a Suns fan? Because I don't think that he cared about the team. He doesn't want to see himself back next year.
I don't know.
Thon asking, when are we watching the Bud Presser highlights?
It's a good question.
Yeah, no.
It's a good question. We might need to work on that supercut.
Well, speaking of super, let's read a couple super chats. Thank you all so much for continuing to bring in these super chats.
Driving and delivering, excuse me. We appreciate you for your $4.99 super chat. For the new dad to be, keep your hands off. $4.99.
Thank you, driving and delivering. He can't be trusted with this $4.99.
Steven can have it though. No, just me. Let's single me out. What the hell, man?
That's tough, man.
No, I'm taking that $4.99. I'm spending it on a burrito. Screw your Goku Bourget. I'm getting that $4.99.
That's crazy. No. Speaking of unborn babies.
That's where we're at for the season, man.
Yeah, pretty much. We got another one from Maria. Thank you, Maria, for your $4.99 super chat. I'm excited to watch the podcast postseason. No longer have to torture myself for 4 quarters before tuning in. Thanks for the good times and talks, guys. Thank you, Maria, and thank you everyone who's here in the chat. Like we said, last game, it has not been easy to watch Suns basketball this year. I don't blame a lot of you if you checked out or if you just came in here angry to vent, but we do appreciate you being here and spending the time with us because we wouldn't be able to do our job without you guys.
I'm going to get all emotional at the end of the show, so I'll save it for that. But Maria, you are a superstar and a champ, always with these super chats, always in here, as Steven would say, on consistency. Noah.
$2 from BComC clearly. This martial arts master started Plumlee over Oso. Blank face. Again today. Steam out the nose emoji.
Not martial arts master.
Oh, sometimes I see these super chats coming. I'm like, how is Noah going to get around saying that?
Yep. Always finding a
Make them tougher for him,
James Bond with the words.
Man.
Oh my goodness. Listen, we have so much more to talk about the future. Like I mentioned, we'll have clips from Marc Stein about the future of KD, about him thinking about the prospect of trading Devin Booker. His full interview will be up on PHNX Sports right after the show. Also, Kevin Durant, active on Twitter during the game. So we're going to give our feelings on that. Plus, we'll take a look at the playoff standings, give our picks for what we're looking for in the playoffs, and we will end the show with just some heartfelt thank yous and goodbyes. But first, we got to get through our second break. Never a bad day to save some money, and never a bad way to save some money than with Monarch Money, which is an app on a website that you can actually use to save money. It's not just going to tell you, oh, come save money with Monarch Money. No, people actually use it. In fact, it was named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. It is the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30 1,000 5-star reviews. You can manage all your finances in one convenient place. All your accounts, credit cards, and investment options. You'll always know where your money stands without the hassle. It is getting increasingly hard to save your money. And Gerald, as somebody who's going to have to be putting away money for Goku Borgay to go to the prestigious Arizona State University, you want to make sure that you have it all on board and you're not caught by surprise by anything. And that's where Monarch Money comes into play. Get control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year with monarchmoney.com using code PHNX. I'm wearing my pro shades, but I love all pro shade concepts because they will give you a custom fit awning to save you from the sun. And if you can tell by how pale I am, I need to be saved from the sun, especially when it's 120 degrees outside. That automatic roll down custom fit awning on your patio is going to keep it up to 20 degrees cooler in the shade. And in the summer, that is a lifesaver. But it's not just for the summer. It's also for the winter. Keeps the warm air in and the cool air out, extending your outdoor living space throughout almost the whole year here in Arizona. Plus, you can trust them. A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Check. 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. Check. And voted #1 by ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024. In business for 20 years, and they can also replace and fix most older, outdated patio shades and motorized awnings. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. Again, thank you all so much for hanging out with us, hitting that like button, sticking with us throughout the entire season, and of course this post-game show as the Phoenix Suns lost to the Sacramento Kings in game 82 of 82, 109-98. The future of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker is up in the air, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was feeling okay about the future of Kevin Durant because we hadn't heard anything. We're like, okay, maybe KD, they could find a way to keep him. And then there were some tweets from Kevin Durant today, and they concerned me. Are they influencing how you're feeling about the future of Kevin Durant in Phoenix?
Not entirely. I think there's been a lot of talk about Suns media driving KD out of Phoenix, Suns fans driving KD out of Phoenix. And I do think to some extent, like it has to bother you if you are any player in this league, let alone an all-time great. And it feels like since day one, some of the talk has been about Mikal and Cam or what we gave up to get KD or we haven't won a title. And I understand those are the expectations that come with trading for a player like Kevin Durant. But the whole idea that like Suns fans are the reason why Kevin Durant will no longer want to be in Phoenix, that feels overblown to me. I feel like a lot of times that he's responding to people on Twitter, he's like having fun while he's doing it. Like it's not that serious to me. And if it is, again, I think it still goes back more so to the Suns tried to trade me at the trade deadline and they want to move me. So I'm going to go where I'm wanted type of thing more so than, you know, what some person with 38 followers on Twitter had to say in his mentions. You know what I mean? Like he's been operating like that all season before and after the trade deadline. I think he just enjoys responding to people on Twitter and having that dialogue. And I'll be 100% honest. A lot of people say like, well, he's Kevin Durant. He shouldn't stoop to that level. He shouldn't entertain the trolls or interact with them. I'd probably do the same thing. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Like I have way, way less followers than Kevin Durant. And when people say things to me in my mentions, I'll respond just to set the record straight or respond to them. But it's not always that serious.
DC asks, what did KD's tweets say? So they've all been deleted. Super fun times. But one mentioned the fact that like Suns fans like to push this narrative that he's ISO heavy and he dribbles the air out of the ball every single game. Somebody then quote tweeted that and said, sometimes he just needs to shut the F up. And he responded to that and said, or what? Question mark, which I did think was pretty funny, but he's deleted all of them too, which I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like just stand on it, right? Like if you're going to do it, stand on it. Not that I have any problem with him tweeting it, but I don't know if Suns fans, Steven, are driving Kevin Durant out of Phoenix. But I also think if you're on the fence about whether or not you want to stay with a franchise that already in your mind disrespected you by trying to trade you, and then you go on social and a very loud vocal minority goes, hey, we hate you. And even though you're a great player, you suck and you ruined our team. I don't know, for somebody who's online a lot, that might have some sort of influence on whether, okay, maybe I don't want to give this another shot since I was already on the fence.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to allow for something external of the franchise itself to sway his mindset on whether he wants to remain or not.
Mm-hmm.
And to Gerald's point, since KD's burner account, that whole thing surfaced, he's been very intentional about letting people know that he's on Twitter having fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you take it personally, that's on you. That's not on me.
Right.
I'm just here for a good time. And y'all continue to provide him with that by the ways in which y'all speak on his name and even get as bold as adding him. And then when he responds, then you're stumbling over your words.
Right.
And,
Backtracking.
And now you're backtracking.
I love you,
well, no, I
Katie.
said this, but I really meant no. Like,
Right.
no. So, again, on him, if that's what he chooses to do.
Sure. I got no problem with
There's a lot. I'll put it like this. There are a ton of other athletes in the NBA that have other ways in which they go about spending their free time that are not the most conducive to being an upstanding individual.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all want to go at KD about responding to trolls, which probably for the 100th time that they've added him, he's like, okay, I've seen this name a billion times this season.
Yeah.
Now is your final shining moment. Let me go ahead and say something to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when you would think that if you're trolling, you want the attention, and then when they get it, and then they act like, trying to backtrack and whatnot. So no, he's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not imagining he's swayed at all by the opinion of people on Twitter, which tried to talk basketball with him today. And he politely corrected them and said, yeah, you guys do not know what you're talking about respectfully because you're speaking emotionally.
Yeah.
Well, so no.
Oh, I mean, I
so.
agree. I think it's interesting to think just like if it could influence somebody, it's like, I don't know if really any NBA players would be influenced. I don't personally think that it would have, but I just do think that it's so unique to have a star of his caliber and to be in the position that he's in right now with this fan base who's obviously scarred and hurt from this season and just this future kind of hanging in the air. And I know, there's been a team in the Houston Rockets that have been linked to Kevin Durant, and I want to give Marc Stein the floor. Of course, DLLS's own Marc Stein. We had a full conversation with him about 15 minutes in our pregame show. You don't have to go back and watch that. We're going to clip that. We're going to post that on our YouTube channel here later today. You can get it in its entirety. But he mentioned that hold your horses on the Rockets possibly being interested in Kevin Durant, even if they do flame out in the playoffs.
Because there's always been this chatter that Houston would be interested in Durant. But all season long, in my reporting, what I've been consistently told is when the Rockets make their next big move, they want to do it with someone who's on the age timeline as the core players there. That has always suggested that they won't be interested in trading for Kevin Durant. But like Gerald just said, what if the Rockets have a really rough playoff run? What if they just get blown out in round one, upset as a number 2 seed, and they have problems scoring, which a lot of people anticipate? Will that in any way change Houston's appetite and change Houston's thinking? Because obviously I think the dream scenario for the Suns would be that the Rockets say, okay, we'll give you back one of these picks for Durant. He's not really on our timeline, but we'll give you some of your draft control back, a measure of your draft control back. But again, that's an unknown. All season long, the messaging out of Houston has been, if you want to talk Devin Booker, we'll listen, but we're not entertaining this for players who aren't on a similar age timeline. But I think you guys are right. The playoffs will tell us a lot. What happens with the Rockets? What happens with the Knicks? Does anyone else really meet with disappointment that makes them say, you know what? Let's go get Kevin Durant. Let's try.
Yeah, to your point, pregame, Eric, and to your point, Gerald, pregame, it's going to be a lot contingent upon what happens with the teams that are actually in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. How well do they fare? What does it look like? What matchup do they ultimately draw? And what kind of weaknesses can they bring to the forefront on a national scale that may up the urgency for their front offices, respectively, to think that they might need another top-end piece to kind of take the pressure off of others offensively, but also give them someone that can almost be an offense in and of themselves and kind of create. So there's a lot of things on the table. I think it all comes back to if the Suns actually want to do it and if Durant actually wants to make a trade happen. If they don't, then this is all just kind of speculation, but I don't know. A lot remains to be seen, and I think that's kind of a tone setter for this offseason, just ambiguity galore.
Yeah, if you're a Suns fan that wants Kevin Durant to be traded, you are rooting for teams like the Thunder, the Rockets, the Knicks to flame out as early as possible in the postseason. And if you're a Suns fan who wants KD back next year, you're rooting for all of those teams to go as far as possible to convince themselves that, no, we don't want to put assets into that. We like what we have. We're going to continue building without giving up a lot to bring in Kevin Durant here and then pay him a 2-year extension. So it is, that market is going to materialize as the playoffs develop. And if you're the Suns and you do want to trade Kevin Durant, you are hoping that you get at least 2 suitors who are going to try and create some sort of bidding war, because otherwise, like, KD is still obviously an all NBA caliber player. He's still playing at extremely high levels on both ends of the court. But teams are going to factor in the Suns' desperation into that. They're going to factor in the fact that he's 36 and has a 2-year extension coming up, a pretty hefty one as well. So to be able to commit assets and that 2-year extension to KD, you have to be absolutely sure that you need a piece like that to push you over the top.
We also heard from Marc Stein. He mentioned, well, hey, what about the future for the Phoenix Suns? And I asked him, like, how confident are you personally that they can get this turned around relatively quickly? And he did not mince words on what he thinks the Suns have to do to get there.
I got to be honest. It's hard for me to see, not fast track. Fast track is the wrong word. But look, if they were willing to trade Devin Booker to Houston and get their picks back, that's a pathway to having a pathway back to something sustainable. But we know Book doesn't want to leave Phoenix. We know the Suns don't want to trade Book. So if those 2 variables hold, that's the toughest thing. Is today there's only one team on the NBA map that doesn't have a playoff berth, doesn't have a play-in shot, and doesn't have a ticket to the draft lottery. And that's the Suns.
Yeah, like Marc Stein said, they are in a very tough spot in terms of not being in the playoffs and not getting the benefit that comes with missing the playoffs in terms of a draft pick. I understand the rationale that, like, if you're the Suns, even if you trade KD to Houston, for example, you're not getting all of your own picks back from the Rockets in that trade, just because the leverage is not in your favor there unless they lose, like, in the first round and become desperate. So Book is kind of the guy that fits their timeline better because of how young the Rockets are. I get all that. But even if you trade Devin Booker and get, 2 of those picks back, you're still looking at a long rebuilding road. And you are looking at a front office that has officially burned its last bridge with the franchise. And that's something that has to be taken into consideration, because as mad as people are now at the way that the Matt Ishbia era has gone so far, and Josh Bartlestein and James Jones and all these guys, if you trade Devin Booker, you sever that trust, you sever that connection to the fan base, you sever that understanding of, we know that Book is not in the Jokic or Giannis or Luka tier even, but he has been everything to this franchise during its toughest times. He brought them back to relevance. He was at the helm of the most successful team in franchise history, regular season team. He got the Suns to the finals for only the 3rd time ever. And I understand that he wasn't as good as he needed to be this season, probably last season as well, but he is the guy here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And so trading him, I have a hard time seeing them doing that, aside from the reporting that we've already said that they're not going to do that.
So from a national perspective, from somebody, and this is by no means me saying anything about Marc Stein at all. He's one of the most plugged in, knowledgeable, well-respected media personalities in sports, let alone basketball. From a national perspective, people outside of here, I completely understand why they would gravitate towards the trade Devin Booker button, right? And I think if it was another team that I didn't care deeply about, because I'm the one on here who is the fan, then I would be like, you know what? I get it. Full rebuild, full tank. There is something special about having your one guy across franchise history. And when you look at those guys, the Kobes, the Dirks, the Tim Duncans, maybe not with Duncan, but with those other 2, there were some very low moments for those franchises where they could have cashed in on their players. And maybe Book's not as good as those players at his peak, but he's still our guy. And you could still build a winner around him. And the thing about full tanks and rebuilds is that they're not promised either. And so unless he wants out, I just think you roll with him. And we're going to talk about that a lot more throughout the offseason. We're going to put a pin in that conversation now, but that full interview with Marc Stein, where he also talks about Bradley Beal, Mike Budenholzer, the front office, more of his personal opinions about the Suns, will be coming out to you later today. We'll also be putting that on audio for all you audio freaks as well. Let's read a couple super chats before we hit our final break here. We appreciate all of you who are still hanging out with us. Hit that like button. Gerald, want to read Tim's?
Sure. Thank you for your $20 super chat. Tim, wouldn't a super cut of Bud pressers be a 10-minute montage of someone looking dazed and confused? I look forward to listening to you guys after the game more than watching the actual games. This season broke me.
Thank you, Tim.
The super cut would be about 10 minutes of Mike Budenholzer starting every response with, yeah, no, I mean.
Yeah, you got to give credit to the insert team here. They played a good game. We just didn't bring it tonight. Gut feeling.
Got to be better.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Noah.
$2 from BComC. Clearly, what Suns player would you kiss? ? Mine is Booker. Emoji.
Bud.
Oh, no.
Doesn't count. Not a player.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Darn. Steven, this one's all you.
Is this Franklix?
Franlix?
Franlix?
Oh, just Fran.
Franlix 1. We appreciate you. What is ARS?
It's an Argentinian peso. 500 of them
okay.
Love it.
goes to about a half of a dollar.
Salute.
We appreciate you. It says the season is over. What a disappointing year. Let's hope next season is at least a little better, but a lot of changes need to be made. Anyway, thanks to you. Thanks to you guys for the shows. Greetings from Argentina. Vamos, Phoenix, y por el amor de Dios. Trade Beal. All caps.
Go Phoenix, and for the love of God, trade Beal.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, Mr. Bilingual over here.
Well, I
Don't
grew
get
up
me
in New
hanging.
Mexico, so I had to.
Hey, I mean, I read it. What you mean?
Michael with a 199 super chat says, Sun should be locked up in a jail cell right now. The dungeon. Well, no jail cell for the Suns.
That's funny. Ryan got put in the dungeon.
True. We are going to wrap up our Suns conversations here on the other side of this break. We're going to take a look at the final Western Conference standings, talk about our favorite matchups, what we're looking forward to, and some actual good basketball. And then we're going to say our thank yous to all of you, the amazing psychos and sickos, and we're going to do it all right after our final break. Is your brand elevated? If not, check out Branded Bills. I was out at the PHNX golf tournament yesterday, and I was rocking our custom PHNX Phoenix Branded Bills hat, and there's no better hat to rock while you're out golfing, working out, hanging out, podcasting, whatever it is, than a Branded Bills hat, because it's not just the fact that they look great or that they have so many different varieties, snapbacks, truckers, fitted beanies, or tees, but it's the quality, it's the material. I own about 15 Branded Bills hats, and I love every single one of them so much. It gives me like choice paralysis when I'm trying to decide which one to wear. I've got ASU ones, I have Suns ones, but of course they also do U of A ones.
U of A?
Yeah, I don't have
You got
any
one of those?
No, only if I'm going to burn them or use them to wipe my bleed. Anyway, they do have partnerships with U of A. That's what we consider their charity work. Also partnership with your Big 12 champions in football, Arizona State University, and of course, we like to support a local company out of Mesa, Arizona. Plus, you can get 20% off your first order. Head to brandonbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. If you're looking to buy a home, you need to write this number down, and I'm dead serious. 480-776-5231. One more time. 480-776-5231. That is the number to the Carol Royse team. Now, we had the pleasure of meeting Carol in person, and you can tell how some people are just authentic. They're real. They care. It took about half of a second for Carol to relay that feeling to us, and she did it by saying, hey, you don't own a team? Or a team. None of us own a team. You don't own a house right now. You're not in real estate. Well, it's about to get a lot tougher. So she wants to sit down with you and talk to you about how to buy your dream home, what steps you need to take to be financially in a position to make that next step. And she's not just going to try to get in, get out, make a quick buck. No, she's going to be real with you. She's going to listen to you, and all you have to do, if you're ready to find your dream home, is take the next step. Call Carol at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol online at carolroyseteam.com and tell them PHNX sent you. That's carolroyseteam.com. Terms and conditions apply.
The word is if you tell them Eric Ruby sent you, they got a little something extra for you.
Yeah, it's called the special?
Who?
Who? No, I haven't heard of that. Oh, the guy who cursed the Suns.
Right.
Yeah. No, we heard about him.
No, their favorite on the PHNX Suns panel.
All right. Well, let's not get carried
Look
away.
at that
here.
smile.
Look at that.
Look at him. Look at him.
The first nice thing said about me on this postgame show.
Oh my God. The disrespect to everybody in the
I'm
chat.
kidding.
saying
I'm
that,
kidding.
that's
I'm
crazy.
kidding.
That's
Be calm, see
crazy.
clearly without the $2 super chat.
Oh, yay. $2 from Be Calm See Clearly. Durant don't have no booty, just flat Jesus. Look over emoji, twirly eye emoji, and another twirly eye emoji.
I got nothing on that one.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Should have just left it alone.
Well, that's what Be Calm wants to leave it alone. They want nothing to do with that.
Stuff.
All right. Speaking of wanting nothing to do with it, the Suns want nothing to do with postseason action, but that doesn't mean we are not taking a look at the push for the playoffs. Play in / push me off a cliff. Presented by All Pro Shade Concepts. The final standings here in the West: the Blazers out, the Suns out. Those are your 12th and your 11th seeds. Let's start with the play-in matchups.
So for starters, because the Warriors lost in OT, they are now 7 and the Timberwolves are now 6. So just as a heads up on that, that did change in the last few minutes because of the end result of that Clippers-Warriors OT game. But yeah, play-in matchups, we've got Warriors and Grizzlies. Warriors hosting that one in the 7-8. The winner of that game will face the Rockets. I would kind of be all for a Warriors-Rockets matchup there. But if the Grizzlies win, then you got two defensive-heavy, younger teams going at it, which could be fun as well. And then the 9-10 Kings-Mavs. I'll be honest with you, I don't see the Kings or the Mavs beating the Grizzlies or the Warriors in the match for the 8 seed.
I want to save our official predictions for everything. Let's do a segment on that tomorrow. Let's just talk about kind of what games intrigue us the most. Obviously, Steven, way more intrigued by Warriors Grizzlies than I am Kings Mavericks.
Yes. Warriors Grizzlies in the first round of the play-in.
Yeah.
It's definitely intriguing, but I think the Dubs win that by 20.
I
Dubs
agree.
win by a dub.
Let's do our
probably.
play-in predictions so that we can get our playoff matchup. So that would mean Golden State rolls in there at the 7th seed, and it would be Memphis against, who do we think is going to win, Sacramento or Dallas?
Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas.
I'm going to go and say Sacramento.
Okay.
I'm going to
Okay.
say Sacramento.
Well, sorry, but you're outnumbered 2-1 for Dallas, so we're going to assume that Dallas wins that game. Dallas, Memphis. Would you take Sacramento over Memphis?
No.
Would you take Dallas over Memphis?
No.
Okay, so we have Memphis going in at the 8th seed. So how we see it, our official Western Conference standings: Oklahoma City taking on the Memphis Grizzlies, the Houston Rockets taking on the Golden State Warriors.
Again.
Wow. Then you have the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sorry, I thought that would be cool. But Lakers, Timberwolves, and then Nuggets, Clippers. Let's start with 1-8.
Don't leave the agains out.
Agains. The 1-8. Does anybody have Memphis taking a game off of Oklahoma City?
I have them taking 3 quarters.
3 quarters.
3 quarters over the course of 4 games.
Yeah.
So
Big brooms.
Which matchup? Obviously, that's not going to be it. But Rockets, Warriors, Lakers, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Clippers. Most intriguing first round Western Conference matchup.
It's probably got to be Lakers Timberwolves just because of Luka and Ant part 2 for me. But like Rockets Warriors is going to be a lot of fun because the Warriors have been a very different team since they added Jimmy Butler. And we know that the Rockets, like everyone's been saying, there are concerns about their ability to score in a playoff series because they don't have that one guy. But honestly, like Nuggets Clippers is intriguing too because you got Jokic going up against honestly an all defensive candidate in Ivica Zubac, who's having a career year. The Clippers have been scrappy all season long. And we know the Nuggets are going in without Michael Malone, so they're a little bit more vulnerable than I thought they would be. I would probably say Lakers Timberwolves just because of the firepower at work there, but all of these are pretty good in my book.
All of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Every last one of them.
these are fun series. I think obviously, the fact that the OKC series is pretty boring in my opinion. I don't know if I see any of those other series going in anything less than 6 games.
That Rockets Warriors series, man.
I mean, so much history there.
This is the stuff that dreams are made of on the playoff stage.
Yeah.
Matchups are everything. 2 very contrasting teams. One team loves to play small. The other team loves to play big, literally. playing two big lineups for relevant moments of games. One is a very defensive-minded team. The other one is naturally has one of the biggest offensive engines in the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The third iteration of this playoff matchup?
Crazy.
This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
What's crazy is Steph is still on that team.
Yeah, for sure.
Steph and Draymond are still there. The Houston Rockets look completely different than they did before. We do have a super chat. Another one from Michael. Thank you so much, Michael. Says, who y'all got, Lakers or Timberwolves? Since you super chatted, we'll give our predictions for that. Out of pure hatred in my heart, and which is crazy because I also hate the Timberwolves, but I'm picking the Minnesota Timberwolves. Give me Ant just going crazy against LA.
This is, I mean, they're separated by literally one game in the standings, which is kind of nuts for a 3-6 matchup. I'm just going to say Lakers just because of the combined star power there between LeBron and Luka, but nothing would surprise me in this series. The Timberwolves obviously have an advantage with their front court, I think, in terms of the depth there and just the size there, but I don't know, man. This could go the distance. I'll say Lakers in 7.
Wolves in 4. I'm just kidding.
Oh no.
I'll take Wolves in 6.
The disrespect.
I got the Lakers in 7.
Okay.
I think they have too much top end star power that matches up well with the Timberwolves.
I agree, but I also hate them. So, those two things
Right.
weighing back and forth.
Analysis.
And, I mean, hey, sometimes feelings over facts. You know what I mean? All right.
How about JJ Redick winning the first round series in his
crazy.
first year as a head coach?
Pretty good for a podcaster.
Getting Luka.
Yeah, pretty
getting
good for a
Luka helps.
podcaster. Right?
But yeah, I think JJ's been a great coach. We'll break down more of those matchups in depth, and if you're lucky, maybe we'll take a look at the Eastern Conference on tomorrow's show. Let's round things out here. Some thank yous, some final messages to Suns fans. Steven, would you like to start as we round out our first full season covering the Phoenix Suns?
Oh, we've expressed a ton of gratitude all season long, especially and even more so as the writing started to become on the wall for the team in terms of them not having postseason play ahead of them. Yet and still, y'all consistently showed up in numbers, showed up with activity, brought your energy, brought your enthusiasm, brought your jokes, let your cries out, all of those things. And that is the sign of a culture where people are comfortable enough to show up even when they might not necessarily want to, yet you still do. And again, we appreciate y'all so much for that. And for someone that's new to Phoenix by way of Chicago, and still getting adjusted out here, y'all open-armedly just accepting me. And I appreciate y'all for that. And I'm looking forward to a very, very, very interesting offseason ahead of us. So thank you for each and every one of y'all. We appreciate y'all. We can't be us without y'all. And we look forward to doing a whole lot more going into this summer.
Yeah, I'll just echo that. Thank you to everyone who showed up. Like I said the other night, it has been an overwhelmingly negative season just in terms of watching the team, in terms of the discourse and discussions around the team. But we appreciate you guys that have come in here, that have been positive, that have vented and enjoyed tuning in to listen to us talk about basketball. We really wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So thank you for all of that. Again, we are not going anywhere. We're going to be doing these shows 5 days a week throughout the off season. And there's going to be plenty to talk about this off season. So don't tap out with us just yet. And I also want to thank Eric and Steven and Noah. This was all of their first season full-time on the job, and what a brutal season it was to start that off with. But they handled this like pros. They came into a tough situation and really brought much needed dynamics to the program with Eric's enthusiasm, Steven's basketball mind. And there's going to be a lot of extra content over the summer as well to tide us all over until we get to watch actual basketball again. And Noah, just a master with with reading the super chats, yes, but also all the graphics that he makes for us as well. So thank you guys for making this a fun season, even though it really wasn't in terms of the things that were out of our control.
From the bottom of my heart, if you're watching on TV, thank you so much for watching. The party always continues over on GoPHNX.com. Gerald says enthusiasm. I think emotional is a great way to describe me as well. Not just with the Phoenix Suns, but just in general. It is not an overstatement for me to say that I am currently working my dream job. When I was a kid, I wanted to work in sports, and like the goal is maybe one day I can do something about the Suns specifically. Like maybe if I get lucky, once I've been in the media game for a long time, I can luck out and do something Suns specifically following. Not to make you feel old, but guys like Gerald, right? And not that I was like a baby following you, but you know, Gerald and Espo and Steven is somebody I've been following on social for, God, probably like close to like 8 to 9 years at this point, and just so much respect for the work that they do and the work that Espo has done and local media and everything. And so when I learned that I got the opportunity to produce this show, I was over the moon. I was super excited, so just blessed to be like a small part of the Suns community. And then when it was like, okay, well now the transition to being on air, like that's literally the dream. And so obviously it's been a very weird and unpredictable season as far as what's happened on the court. I know the show has gone through some changes, and for those of you who have stuck with us every step of the way, that means so much to all of us. But speaking from me specifically, like to be able to speak to fans, for fans, and to be in your guys' life 10 times a week, sometimes between pregame show, postgame shows, watch-alongs, and to know that we made this awful season just a little bit better means the world to me, because that was something that I always looked for when I was a fan and watching these shows as well. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for supporting, for liking these videos, and for continuing to go through the nonsense that we can sometimes put you all through. We really do appreciate it, and I promise you this off season is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get goofy. We're going to get exciting. I'm going to talk myself back into this team. It's going to take me, like, put an over under it. How long until I'm back? Until I'm back in on us being a good team?
July 7th.
That's way too long. Steven?
Well,
I
because
give
of
you
free
2
agency.
weeks.
2 weeks?
Well, after they name the likely name the next head coach.
I think
okay.
I think it has to be before free agency, because I'm going to talk myself into it.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to talk myself into all the changes that they're going to be able to make. But it's going to be fun. Watch the playoffs. Still enjoy basketball. We'll be talking about it here. Let's round things out with a couple super chats and then maybe a little party time. Noah, this one's for you.
$2 from BComC Clearly. Go D-backs. Heart, heart. I love you guys, especially Noah Daddy. Kissing emoji.
I will say, I did leave out Noah when I was saying things. To be the producer of this show before, and then the step here, I had like very much like secondhand stress when he first started here, and nothing to do with him at all. Like, he's amazing and fantastic. It took like a week for that to completely go away. He's so freaking talented. Like, he's goofy, but he's so good at what he does, and he's only getting better as well, and has brought such an incredible dynamic to the show. So big ups to Noah as well.
Thank you.
He's elite.
Facts.
At his nonsense and his job. He's elite. So
It's hard to do both.
salute to Noah. If you know a creative in your life, they probably built somewhat similarly to Noah.
Yeah,
in terms of personality.
For
So
sure.
He checks off the boxes for sure. We appreciate Noah big time.
Maria with a $4.99 super chat says, thank you, Gerald, Eric, Steven, and Noah, for all that you pour into this fan base. You have helped bring small glimmers of joy to a hard season.
Thank you, Maria. That's the goal. So glad to hear that.
We appreciate you, Maria.
And hopefully we can bring more joy in the off season. You can follow us at PHNX_Suns. We appreciate Noah behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Of course, you can follow all of us throughout the off season. Our jobs, our coverage does not stop with this team. When Mike Budenholzer gets fired, whatever happens to the front office, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, you're going to be following at Gerald Bourget, at Steven PG3, and at ERIKRUBY to keep up to date with everything.
Mercury season coming.
Mercury season definitely coming.
Draft tomorrow. Training camp starts a week from today.
There you go.
Tap
We'll have
in.
PHNX Mercury keeping you up to date with that, Steven. And Erica, you just can't escape the Erics on your basketball shows. I want to end with two funny things.
Erica would not like her.
No, she would not.
To you
No,
at all.
not at all.
Somebody clip this and send that to her.
No, she'll kill me. Sparrow earlier had a very funny comment
Facts.
that said the Suns end the season with 36 wins. 36 unbothered. We were very bothered. However, we could still find a way to party, so we leave you with this. A little PHNX party time, yeah.
PHNX party time, yeah. Kevin Durant, yeah. SPG, yeah. Espo, yeah. Ruby, yeah. Okay, yeah, party time.
We all silly like the mayor.